Manchester United versus Arsenal game reaction. The game just finished. United lost 1-0 against Arsenal. That was kind of my prediction. Not 1-0. I thought we were going to lose something like 2-0 or 2-1. I can already see Frederick in the chat. What's up, Frederick? But yeah, we lost. That was kind of the expectation. That was my prediction. Um, Before the match, I didn't believe for a second that we were going to win this game. I thought that at best would be able to draw against Arsenal, but I never thought for a second that we would win this game. However, after these 90 minutes and then plus six of extra time at the end, and then plus 1 minute a half time or whatever, after these 90 minutes, I can clearly say we are very disappointed to not walk away with those 3 points. We are very disappointed to not walk away with those 3 points today against Arsenal. The man of the match for Arsenal was really and truly Raya. Raya was fantastic in this game. I feel like he kept Arsenal alive. He must have made at least 4 key saves. When I say 4 key saves, I'm talking about saves that if he didn't make them, they would have easily been goals. We're going to talk about the players. We're going to make those rankings. I'm just going to give my thoughts on very quickly. And I was going to start with how poorly we played, how bad our goalkeeper situation is. But I just, as I'm talking about Raya, I just remembered Cunha was absolutely amazing throughout the game. Cunha was amazing throughout the game. We are very, very lucky to have Cunha in our team. He was absolutely fantastic. And when I talked about those 4 chances that if Fred didn't save, we would have won the game. I mean, in particular, that little run that Cunha had in the middle of the pitch, where it was like Moses. He just completely parted Arsenal's midfield and defense apart, completely steamrolled through them. There was nothing they could have done against Cunha. His technical ability and his he's driving off the football is absolutely fantastic. And then he gets inside the box. He was getting closed in by it was Gabriel Saliba. He was getting closed in, and then he kind of lost balance and made a shot. And that was an easy save for Raya. But his second chance inside the box, he kind of once again beats the defender. I think that was still in the first half. Gets inside the box and then makes that shot. And then Raya out of nowhere saves the ball. Raya was easily Arsenal's best player. And I did not think I'd be saying this at the end of the game before the game started. I thought that if we were to do well in this game, I thought that one of our best players would have to be our centre backs. And I do think De Ligt done very well, but I thought we kind of shot ourselves in the foot there. The goalkeeper situation is something that we need to address right now today. If I'm Beretta, I'm looking at this team and I'm making sure that we get in Donnarumma. Donnarumma needs to be in this team by tomorrow morning if we are to do anything special this season. Donnarumma or anyone else. Like you can't be competitive when your attack is trying to do something up front, and the other team have an amazing goalkeeper, so you can't really get there. And then our goalkeeper is letting goals in. People are saying, "Oh, was it a foul?" It wasn't a foul, first of all, and even then, I don't really care if it was a foul. Why is he palming the ball inside the box when it's a corner? We all know how dangerous Arsenal are from set pieces, and he's going there trying to palm the ball. Do a fist and punch the ball away from you. Punch the ball away from the goalkeeper's area. What was he doing, going for the ball and just trying to tap the ball? Raya, mate, that was just absolutely unexcusable from Bender. And now I'm kind of beginning to question who's better between him and Onana, because they're both bad. They are both bad goalkeepers, and I don't know what we're going to do about our goalkeeper situation, because they are both bad. You either get him in the team and he makes silly mistakes, because also he's not had a lot of time as our number one goalkeeper, but still those mistakes should not be happening in a game like this. We could have walked away with 1 point easily against a team that's been 100% more superior than us. We cannot be letting Arsenal get away with things like that. We cannot be letting Arsenal get away with things like that. We could have walked away with 1 point. We could have won the game. But yeah, at least on a more positive note, I think that we done a good job when it came to taking this challenge on. We took this challenge head on. We didn't hide away from Arsenal. I genuinely believe that throughout most of the game, we played better football than Arsenal. We were the superior team for longer periods of the game, especially towards the end of that first half. Stuff the second half was not very good, but after Sesko came on, I know Sesko didn't do a lot, but I think that was the trigger point. After Sesko came on, I think we done a lot better. So we're gonna go in a second and get these players' ratings on. But yeah, we were all over Arsenal. Very, very proud of the players for getting this challenge, taking this challenge head on. There are a few things even within the team that I didn't like. I feel like Ruben Amorim needs to solve this midfield, or he will be getting sacked. Uh, Ruben Amorim's job for me right now is hanging by a thread of the simple fact that he needs to sort this midfield. I'm not calling for Amorim to be sacked or anything. I still think that we should back the manager, but his job is hanging by a thread if he does not solve this midfield. This midfield will either make or break him because the defense looks solid, the attack will come, the goals will come. We played against a very, very good Arsenal team with great centre backs. They have 4 elite fullbacks. they took um they took Kulafori and Ben White off, and they still had Timber and Skelly. Like Arsenal have 4 elite fullbacks. They have Gabriel and Saliba, arguably the best partnership in the league, and they have Raya, a top 3. In my opinion, he's only second to maybe Allison in the league. So they've got one of the best defenses in the league, and we were very unlucky today to not score against them. So that fills me up with a lot of confidence. I think that this team throughout the season, they're gonna figure it out. I feel like between what we saw today between Cunha and then Wermu, Cunha was fantastic for us. Cunha was absolutely fantastic for us. And then Sesko, I don't know why Sesko did not start. And this is part of the reason why our midfield is a problem. And we're going to delve into it a bit deeper. But just like initial thoughts, you have to play Mason Mount there because Mason Mount was also fantastic in that first half, in the first 60 minutes of the game. But yeah, I feel like Ruben Amorim, he is really struggling with this midfield. I feel like he does need another signing, but he needs another signing because of depth. The depth in our midfield is poor. To really maximize this team, he needs to fix the midfield, not just get another signing. Getting another midfielder in is not going to solve this midfield problem. And I'm going to explain why with my Bruno Fernandes example. Like getting, Pablo, we are Amorim in. Pablo, look at this guy's name. Pablo Escobar. Pablo, we are definitely Amorim in, but I'm saying Amorim needs to solve this midfield or he will be in big, big trouble. I see you guys watching the live stream right now. I appreciate everyone watching. I left the link in the chat if you guys want to come over and also talk about United. You don't need to have your camera on. If you just want to come over and talk about United, just hit the link and you can come over. There's no special treatment here. If you just click the link, first come, first serve, we can talk about United. So yeah, we played better than Arsenal. That's my first point. Now the set piece. We have been awful from set pieces for over a decade now. We have been about a decade. We have been awful from set pieces for about a decade now. And the first set piece of the season, we can see the goal. We can see the goal from the first corner of the season. That is so poor. And Arsenal, yes, they are good on set pieces, but we cannot concede the goal from the first one of the season at home. And this is what I mean. There's so many things to fix in this team. This is why, and this is kind of my fault as well. It's like we need a goalkeeper in this team as quickly as possible. I was going to do this towards more the end of the live stream, but I tried to defend Onana. I tried to say that we have bigger priorities in this team, like the midfield problem, the attackers, and we kind of solved the attack in a sense. We got in the right players. Now it's all about consistency and team setup. Our midfield is still a problem, but I think that our midfield, I've been saying this for weeks now, our midfield is more of a structural problem, a formation problem, more than it is a player's problem. There is enough talent in this team to bring this midfield to life. The depth is still poor, but there is enough talent. It's just the way this team is set up right now is not it. However, and these were the reasons why I thought the goalkeeper was not a top priority. But after watching this game, after watching United play football today, I was in absolute shock. We could have won this game. We could have at least drew this game. Outside of that first, of that first corner where they scored, like there wasn't a lot of that Arsenal were doing to us. Arsenal, arguably, a lot of people have Arsenal as their top 3 favorite team to win the league. I think that Arsenal are definitely in the run between City, Arsenal, and Liverpool, I feel like you're just splitting hairs. We're gonna see how it will all come down to consistency, because in terms of talent and depth, they're all amazing. And they didn't really cause us a lot of trouble. We really considered from that silly corner, and that's why we need to address the goalkeeper situation. It's not just about a corner. It's because on the other end you have Raya, and Raya was absolutely phenomenal. And Raya won Arsenal the game today. And I'm just thinking about David De Gea again. We kind of took De Gea for granted, and you saw it in this game. When you have an elite goalkeeper, he can get you those points. He can keep you alive in games. And our goalkeeper today did the exact opposite. Our goalkeeper today took us off the game. Our goalkeeper today did the one thing that you do not want your goalkeeper to do. He put us on the back foot. And I'm 100% putting the blame on our goalkeeper here, because there's no way, there's no reason for you to go for a ball like that and not be aggressive. You don't just, even if there are people in front of you, if you're he touched the ball, you don't just palm the ball, you go there, you just do a fist. And if you just punch the ball would have gone further away from him. But he kind of palmed the ball, no strength in his hands whatsoever, and the ball kind of rolled back. That cannot happen again. That absolutely cannot happen again. And that is why we need to address this goalkeeper situation as soon as possible. If we are going to be competitive, there will be close games like this against Arsenal. Yeah, 22 shots today and no goal. Absolute, oh my days, absolute joke. There will be tight games like this in the Premier League. There will be tight games. We have to be able to withstand. And our goalkeeper is going to be so important in this. I remember when Liverpool was so close, this close to winning the Champions League, this close to winning the Premier League, and Karius was just letting them down over and over again. They got in Alisson, and the Liverpool team switched like this. The Liverpool team switched like this, and they won the Champions League. They won the Premier League because they had finally got a goalkeeper that was able to withstand that pressure. Because in those tough games like today, your goalkeeper is going to have to take a lot of pressure. And even today, I'm saying this, but he didn't even take that much pressure. It was just that corner. It was just that corner, really and truly, where he was absolutely awful. And we must address that situation as soon as possible. We must address that goalkeeper situation as soon as possible. Let me just read what Frederick had to say here. How will this United game affect LeBron's legacy? Oh, Frederick, you got me there. That's a good one. Arsenal are much better than what we saw today. And we managed to withstand that pressure for such a long time. Just that our goalkeeper completely crumbled. We need to get rid of him. No. That guy does not start for Man United. I am absolutely sorry. He does not. He absolutely does not. Okay. I was gonna talk about these things, but I feel like it's best if we get towards the tier list already. Let's rank these players, and then as I'm ranking these players, I'll kind of speak on them a bit more. I feel like the only player I currently don't have on this tier list is Sesko. Sesko was a new signing, so I don't have Sesko on this tier list just yet. But yeah, that's the only player. I have everyone else. Pardon me. So we're going to start by ranking these players today. And yeah, my ranking is just out of 5. We're going to be ranking these players on how well they played out of 5. Starting off with Mason Mount. We're going to start with Mason Mount. I'm going to leave Harry Maguire for the end. Mason Mount was a 4 today. Mason Mount was truly impressive today. I really liked what I saw from Mason Mount. We're talking about a player who, you know, a lot of doubts around Mason Mount. Can he do it? Can he? Oh, what happened to my screen? Just bear with me, guys. Can Mason Mount do it? Can he withstand the pressure? Can Mason Mount stay? Can Mason Mount not get injured? Can Mason Mount contribute to this team? And so far from the preseason and from this first half from his first 60 minutes against Arsenal, Mason Mount really done well. Like I'm loving the intensity he's playing with. I'm loving the fact that he's our most hardworking midfielder. He is someone who even on the ball has had some great moments. Haven't really translated into goals or assists, but he's had some good moments. I feel like today Mason Mount was a 4, and I feel like Mason Mount, and we're gonna get into it more. as we talk about Casemiro, Bruno, Ugarte. But Mason Mount kind of highlights the biggest problem that I have with this midfield. You can't play Mason Mount as striker, because when you play Mason Mount as striker, you lose Sesko. And we cannot lose Sesko. Sesko must play. I feel like we really miss Sesko. I have some criticism towards Dorgu and Dalot, but some of that criticism could have been avoided if we had a striker. I feel like a lot of times Dorgu and Dalot were crossing the ball into the box when no one was there, which is very silly. If there's no one in the box, do not cross the ball, just giving the ball back to Arsenal. But at the same time, if we had a striker on the pitch, that wouldn't have been a problem. So that's the problem. You have Mason Mount, who's playing very well, but you can't really play Mason Mount because you have to start Sesko. And when you start Sesko, now you only have Bruno and Casemiro. And this is the reason why I feel like Amorim needs to improve this midfield. This midfield pivot is not working. He doesn't have the personnel to make it happen. And the current personnel that he has, they're not being maximized in this current formation. And Mason Mount is one of those players. Like Mason Mount, you can't play Mason Mount next to Casemiro because then Ugarte, because then you lose Bruno. And then also Mason Mount will be playing too deep. And we see where Mason Mount is most impactful. It's up front. It's pressing. It's winning the ball back. It's playing those passes in between. It's in and around the box. We've not really seen Mason Mount taking a lot of shots in this game because he was working so hard off the ball. But that's where Mason Mount is most dangerous. And when you're taking Mason Mount off that area, you're losing a lot of what makes Mason Mount dangerous. That's part, like this midfield is not working for me. And in the game where Mason Mount played so well, I have to say, next game, if we're going to play with two midfielders, Mason Mount can't touch the pitch because we need a striker. We must have Sesko in this game. The next game. Bender's next, Ender one. I've talked about him already extensively at the start of the video, and yeah, just absolutely shocking. What this goalkeeper done today in this game was absolutely shocking, and it just goes to highlight why we must get a goalkeeper in this team as soon as possible. I don't remember the last time where I felt I love the on the games, to be honest, but it's like a few years ago we used to have a goalkeeper. I remember the game against Tottenham, the game against Arsenal. We used to have a goalkeeper that would keep us in the game. The hair would take up so much pressure and keep us in games till late. Like these goalkeepers, the first corner within the first 12 minutes, we already taking a step back because our goalkeeper is not strong enough from a set piece. It's like it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense, and that cannot be happening. Like our goalkeeper should be someone that we rely on, not someone who's a liability to our team. So yeah, out of 5 today, his ranking is a 1. Absolutely poor. Absolutely poor. And if Donnarumma is available, if those Donnarumma rumors are true, get him in as soon as possible. We need a competent goalkeeper. This is not good enough. Diogo Dalot. I feel like Dalot was solid. He didn't make too many mistakes for me to put him at 2. But at the same time, we all know what Dalot is like offensively. Dalot is not okay. We were gone there for a second. I think we're back. Frederick, just let me know if you guys can still hear me. We're gonna carry on. But yeah, Dalot is not that player that we need offensively. Like defensively, he was solid throughout most of the game. He was solid, but you just saw the difference when Amad came on the pitch. When Amad came on the pitch, it's like his creativity just flowed. Our midfield is poor, but Amad and Cunha, they just give so much life to this team. And I feel like you have to start Amad now because all of our other fullbacks don't really offer that much offensively. And between Dalot and Amad, I know Amad isn't as strong defensively, but I'll much rather start Amad because we just lose so much of Dalot offensively. Again, I'm not going to give Dalot a 2 because he didn't do anything necessarily bad in today's game. But at the same time, it's like a very low 3. He was there. Dalot was there. That's the best I can say. And I feel like Dalot and Dorgu, they both could have done with a striker in today's game. I feel like if Dorgu and Dalla both had a striker, a lot of those passes that were making into the box would have found someone. But without a striker, you have Mason Mount just running laps. You have Mason Mount just running laps, and running laps, and it's like you need someone like Sesko to just be inside the box and ready for those corners, ready to take those opportunities. And at the minute, we don't quite have that. In today's game, we didn't quite have that, and there's something that's really, disappointing, because if we had someone like that, a lot of those crosses would have meant something more. Anyways, next player. We're going to talk about Haaland towards the end, but Cunha, I have to give Cunha a 5. I have to give Cunha a 5. Clearly, without a shadow of doubt, the best player for United today. The second best player on the pitch. I feel like Raya was the best player on the pitch. I feel like Raya takes man of the match, but Cunha's right there. Cunha done everything right but score, and he came this close to scoring. And it's just because Raya was completely inspired. I don't know what took over Raya, but this is kind of payback from that 2018 campaign where we kind of completely embarrassed Arsenal. But yeah, Raya done to us today what we done to Arsenal all those years back in the Emirates. Absolutely fantastic, and I feel like Cunha, from what we saw today, absolutely fantastic. His dribbling ability is up there with Ahmad. The way he's so effective at carrying the ball forward, it's like he's the anti. He's like the anti Anthony. Tomorrow, people will think why they didn't sell Bruno for 100 million. No. And this is the thing. Because of this formation, I'm gonna continue to talk about it. Because of this formation, you have people saying stuff like this, like Bruno did not have a bad game at all. Bruno did not have a bad game at all. The problem with Bruno is this formation. The formation that we currently have does not allow us to maximize our midfielders. And there's a big issue, because if we had a formation where our midfielders could be maximized, there wouldn't even be a question about Bruno not being there. And I was going to touch upon this more when we talked about Bruno, but since this comment came in, like, one of my biggest problems with today's game is that we didn't get to see enough of Bruno in that final third. Again, I'm seeing Bruno get the ball back from the goalkeeper. I do not want to see that happen again. I want to see, with how well Cunha was playing, and when we're trying to make things happen, I'm not trying to make things happen. We needed Bruno to be there, to be that final link, to link up those players. But Bruno wasn't there because Bruno's having to play box-to-box midfielder next to Casemiro or Ugarte. But anyways, back to Cunha. Absolutely fantastic. If this is anything to go by for what's to come this season, then we have to be excited. Cunha was fantastic today. He's carrying out the ball. It's outstanding. Very, very unlucky to not get a goal today. And I cannot wait to continue to see Cunha play. Raya had a fantastic game, but I feel like it won't take us very long to see Cunha score a goal. It won't take us long to see Cunha be impactful. And another thing is, Cunha needs to play from the left-hand side. With how good he is on a one-on-one, and I know that he kind of was able to create space in the middle of the pitch, but you want a player of Cunha's archetype. You want a player with Cunha's abilities and skills to be drifting from the left to the middle, or left where he gets into those one-on-one situations with the fullback. Because of how good Cunha is, he'll embarrass any fullback in this league. Like the way he was able to part the Arsenal's Red Sea in the first half, like Cunha can do that routinely to fullbacks. That's why he needs to explore that space between the striker and the fullback. That's where Cunha will be most effective. This thing of having Cunha play striker can never happen again. Not when you have Sesko on the bench. Even Zexi, I'd rather see Zexi play. I'd rather see Zexi link up with Cunha and Mbeumo than see Mason Mount play striker again. Or Mason Mount is the problem with this midfield. Or see Cunha play striker again. Cannot happen again. You're asking Cunha to do too much. Play Cunha as a winger and let Cunha shine where he has more space and he has more time to make things happen. But yeah, Cunha today, outstanding, gets a 5 from me. Dorgu, solid game. I feel like I'm always torn with Dorgu because I feel like he doesn't do enough offensively, but at the same time, he had a very good chance in the first half. And where I'm at currently with Dorgu is I'm going to give him time. I'm going to give Dorgu time. He's a young player. He's still developing. This is not the final product, but I am beginning to get worried about his final third ability. I'm beginning to get worried about Dorgu's final third ability and how much he's going to contribute into this team. I need to see more from Dorgu offensively. I need to see Dorgu getting more involved. I need to see Dorgu actually not getting more. That's not the right word, but be more effective. I need to see Dorgu be more effective up front because right now it's not good enough. It's not good enough. He gets us. I feel like defensively he done a very solid job. It's the same thing as Dalot. They didn't really put a foot wrong defensively. I think he had the one time where he made a bad pass backwards. I can't really remember, but yeah, they don't. Dorgu and Dalot are quite solid defensively, but it's offensively where they are not effective, or at least effective enough. So yeah, he gets a 3 from me. Nothing to scream home about, but at the same time, not that bad. I'm gonna circle back on Ugarte and Maguire, but moving on to Casemiro. And a lot of you fans are not gonna like to hear this, but Casemiro gets a 4 from me. I felt like Casemiro played a very solid game up to the point that he was taken off. And this is the thing, like Casemiro is so good on the ball. I think it was that one. There was that one chance where he gets the ball, takes a touch, and quickly pins the ball to him. Actually, that happened twice. There was one time where he done that on our own half, and he pinned the ball to him. When there's another time where we were kind of building up and already in Arsenal's half, and he plays kind of a spray ball towards Mbeumo. Casemiro's ability on the ball is excellent, but I feel like currently Casemiro is suffering from the same problem that Bruno, Ugarte, Mount, and Kobbie Mainoo are all suffering from. All of our midfielders are suffering from the same problem, and it's that this current midfield setup that Amorim has does not maximize any of the midfielders that we have, and it's really a shame. But yeah, Casemiro, he's up there in age. I don't know how consistent Casemiro is going to be throughout the season, but I feel like Casemiro played a very solid, was it 60 minutes? He was played a very solid 60 minutes. Good defensively, controlling the tempo quite well offensively. I feel like Casemiro deserves a 4 from me. Definitely a 4. And yeah, I wish we had prime Casemiro. If we had prime Casemiro, our midfield problems wouldn't be as big. But yeah, I just hope Uncle Casemiro can continue to play good football because with the current depth that we have, we'll definitely need to see the best of Casemiro throughout the season if we want to do anything special. Moving on. Seeing Kobbie Mainoo's face, he kind of breaks my heart. But I'm going to talk about Mainoo at the end of the video. Luke Shaw, again, very solid. Nothing outstanding from Luke Shaw. I feel like at times he was doing very well against Saka, but nothing outstanding from Luke Shaw. I feel like he was solid throughout the game, and I hope Luke Shaw can continue to stay healthy. It's kind of the same thing with Luke Shaw every season, but it's like, Luke Shaw's potential. Like defensively, he's one of the best defenders in the Premier League. Easily. Like Luke Shaw walks into a lot of these teams, and I hope we can continue to see a healthy Luke Shaw because he will be instrumental in us trying to rebuild this team, trying to rebuild a strong defense. Solid game from Luke Shaw. Fingers crossed he can continue to keep this up. Moving on. Mbeumo, I felt Mbeumo was trying today, and this is where I'm kind of torn about Mbeumo today. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Pardon me. It's like, and this that I don't think Mbeumo was as effective as Cunha was, but at the same time, I felt like he was really trying to make things happen. And for that, let me know in the comments what you guys think. But I don't know. I kind of feel like Mbeumo deserves a 4. I don't think he was as good as Casemiro or Mason Mount. But I feel like Mbeumo was trying to make things happen. And if we had a striker and if we had a goalkeeper that wouldn't set us in the back foot within the first 12 minutes, I feel like we could have seen more from Mbeumo. He had two very. He had a header. I forgot that header from Mbeumo was fantastic, and he also had that kind of like acrobatic shot that he had. So yeah, and when we get to a 4 from me, yeah, these guys are going to be scoring a lot of goals. I feel like Mbeumo, Sesko, and Cunha will be scoring a lot of goals today. It was a tough matchup, and yeah, what's his name? Raya was very inspired, but yeah, the goals will definitely come in. Very excited for what's to come next season. That's a perfect time to sell Luke Shaw before an injury. You know what? That wouldn't be the worst shout. I'd love to see Luke Shaw stay consistent, but if anyone wants to throw 15, 20 million at us for Luke Shaw and kind of fund Baleba, the Baleba pot, I wouldn't be mad at that. That's funny, Pablo. Moving on, because I want to finish this because there are still a few topics that I want to touch upon, and we're already halfway in. I mean, 30 minutes in. Lenny Euro, again, very solid. Lenny Euro is very solid in this game. Yeah, I'm very happy with our defense, especially because we put against Arsenal, and I feel like their front three did not give us any real trouble. I know Gyökeres kind of had that little moment with De Ligt, but De Ligt kind of had Gyökeres in his pocket for most of the game. Gyökeres didn't do anything special today. So yeah, the fact that we're playing against Arsenal today, again, is also Arsenal's first game of the season. Arsenal are still trying to, get themselves back into the run of things, and create some new patterns. But at the same time, a very solid job from Lenny Euro. Again, I'm going to keep saying this until it happens. Lenny Euro has the potential to be one of the very best midfielders in the world, if not the best midfielder in the world. He has tremendous potential, and we are very lucky to have Lenny Euro. And the fact that he didn't go to Real Madrid is kind of baffles me till this day, because if you just imagine what the potential of Hutchinson and Lenny Euro for the next 3 years would be like. But we have him now. We are united. We have him, and we need to make sure we continue to give this guy the flowers that he deserves. Not very impressive in today's game, but solid throughout. Who was very impressive in today's game and gets my Defender of the Match award is De Ligt. De Ligt was fantastic today. Like, especially in the first, I want to say 25 minutes, like he was all over Arsenal. All over Arsenal. De Ligt was absolutely fantastic. I hope we get to see this De Ligt throughout the season, because once again, we kept Arsenal quiet. They got lucky that our goalkeeper is not very good, but we kept Arsenal quiet. And part of the reason why was because of De Ligt. De Ligt was massive in this game. Pause. He was absolutely fantastic, and I hope that we can continue to see this De Ligt throughout the season, because one, I also believe in De Ligt. I feel like we have two goalkeepers in De Ligt and Lenny Euro that can very easily be the best goalkeepers in the world. We can have an insane partnership with these two. So yeah, just hope De Ligt can stay healthy, because similar to Luke Shaw, and maybe even more, because I feel like De Ligt is a better player than Luke Shaw. Our defense can really be can really do some serious damage if these two if De Ligt can stay healthy throughout the season. Moving on, Bruno Fernandes. It's hard for me not to give Bruno a 4, and it's very similar to last game. Like, do I really think that Bruno had a 4 out of 5 game? Like, do I really think that Bruno was that good? Not 100%, but at the same time, the reason why I don't think that is because of what Bruno is meant to be doing. But at the same time, when you take into account what Bruno's been asked to do, the burden that he's taken on, playing all over the pitch, as I said, involved in the build-up phase, trying to get in that transition phase, trying to get in that final third phase, Bruno has been all over the pitch. And I just feel like he didn't really set a foot wrong throughout the game. People question Bruno's ability defensively. I feel like Bruno did a very solid job against Arsenal today. And yeah, I feel like Bruno is the player that is suffering the most with this current setup. I hate to see Bruno playing in a midfield pivot. Bruno should be playing as a cam, or at worst, a more forward-leaning midfielder, because with how well Cunha was playing and Bremen was playing, and it's like Bruno should be getting involved in that. Bruno should be linking up with Cunha and then Bremu to make things happen. I'm just not mentioning Sesko because Sesko didn't really get enough time to play. He got 30 minutes in a very tight game against Gabriel and Saliba. That's always going to be a tough assignment. But yeah, but as far as Cunha and then Bremu go, I feel like Bruno needs to be up there with those guys trying to make things happen. Amad Diallo, I'm going to give Amad a 3, but it's like a very high 3. It's a very high 3. Amad needs to start. We have a problem with Amad Diallo, and it's the fact that he is too good to be on the bench, but he's not being effective enough. He's not being efficient enough to warrant him starting over Mbeumo. But he's too good to start off the bench. I know that he's not as good as Diallo defensively, but honestly, I think you take that bullet. I think you take that bullet and you kind of continue to you kind of force your team to be more offensive leaning, because the creativity that Amad provides us with, the tenacity, the never giving up attitude that he has, the fact that when he gets the ball, he faces his attacker and is always trying to make something happen. Amad needs to start. Amad needs to start because the partnership between him and then Mbeumo could be deadly on that right-hand side. Amad needs to start. He's too good to be coming off the bench, and he's too good to be left out of this team. He gets a 3 from me, but that's mainly because we didn't really get to see enough of Amad. But yes, special player. We've always known Amad was a special player from his Atlanta days, but especially over the last 12 months, Amad has really grown, and he's now a player that we cannot see on the bench anymore. Amad's too good. We must start Amad, even if that means losing a bit more of that defensive what's the right word here? Defensive ability, defensive solidity, I don't know. Whatever you guys think. New comment. It actually annoys me how United fans thought they were going to walk away with points today. Come on, it's Arsenal you're playing. You were never winning, was always going to be 3 points to us. Yes, that was my prediction. My prediction was always for Arsenal to win. But you cannot tell me that, whoa, we were better today. United showed promise, though. Mid-table finish at least. Hey, buddy, the link is on the chat. Please come and join Jeff. But yeah, Jeff, just to answer your thing, you cannot seriously tell me that after watching the game that you didn't think that United deserved to at least get 1 goal. Arsenal were the better team in the sense that their defense kept them in the game. But offensively, Arsenal was not better than us today. And that's kind of the thing about today's game, is that if we had a competent goalkeeper in today's game, Arsenal would have not had a goal. What's his name? Baindeed was not asked to do half of the work that Raya was asked to do. And that's, that is champions. That's what makes a champions team. Did you score? How can you be a better team if you don't score? Jeff, do you watch football? You can 100% play better football and be a better team without scoring. Now, does that matter? I didn't know. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you also get the 3 points. And that, again, that's what matters at the end of the day. But I think you're being very disingenuous by saying that we didn't play well today. There's a boxer battle the other. If the boxing and oranges to apples here. Why are you comparing boxing to football? Completely different sports. You're talking about a team sport and an individual sport where you're trying to hurt another person. Yes. Oh, can you bat? Oh, no. You can't batter a team. Yeah. I don't think that today we battered Arsenal. I don't think we've done that. I don't. If anyone is saying that, then just ignore them. I don't think we battered Arsenal today. However, I feel like we've done very well to create a lot of chances. But then that's the thing. And that's why it's so important to get a good goalkeeper in. And that's why I commend Arteta for being ruthless in that Ramsdale situation. He said, Ramsdale, you're gone. I'm getting Raya in because he's a better goalkeeper, and that is kind of now playing dividends. But yeah, Jeff, I appreciate your comments. I appreciate you getting involved and engaged. I appreciate that. But yeah, Arsenal, and again, I can't really think of any team over the last few years that won the Premier League that didn't have either an elite goalkeeper or at least a very good goalkeeper. I'm going back all the way back to Leicester in 2016 when Leicester. Oh, yeah. I don't think. Yeah, no Premier League team. It's not. I don't think there has never been a Premier League winning team that's not had either a very good goalkeeper or an elite goalkeeper that you could make the case for being the best goalkeeper in the world. Even when Leicester won, Schmeichel is an elite goalkeeper. Schmeichel is an elite goalkeeper. It's just that he was playing for a very poor side. So yeah, Arsenal done well for themselves for getting a good goalkeeper, and we shot ourselves in the foot by having two bad goalkeepers. Donnarumma is available. Let's make it happen. After today, you could come top 4, but you need goals. Yeah. But again, the only reason why I think we didn't get goals today is because of Raya. Generally, Raya was one of the match, and I said this at the start. Getting Isak would be nice. But that's not going to happen. I said this at the start of the video, and it's like Arsenal done to us today what we done to Arsenal. I think it was like in 2018. Like that game in the Emirates against Arsenal, Arsenal played better than us. We got 3 goals, I know, but Arsenal in that game played better than us and created more chances. It's just that David De Gea in that game had a game of his life, had one of the games of his life, and today Raya had one of the games of his life. The header from Mbeumo was super close. The shot from Cunha, like there were so many chances where Raya was just there. I feel like, especially that when Cunha was inside the box, he beats his man and then takes the shot. The way Raya just gets into the floor super quick and just gives the ball a little tap, that small tap really saved the ball from going in. Raya is an elite goalkeeper, and that's why you spend big money on elite goalkeepers, because the opposite of not having an elite goalkeeper is having a goalkeeper like ours that will concede from a set piece in the first 12 minutes, and that ruins your entire game. Anyways, we have a few more players to go through. Harry Maguire. I don't think Harry Maguire was bad, but we didn't really see much from Harry Maguire. Not his fault. Just the way he came into the game, not his fault. And Ugarte as well, not his fault. But yeah, those are kind of like the guys that I kind of had to put on. Yo, bro, are you going to do a basketball video in the future? Just great. Yeah, my plan is really to have the basketball channel separately, just because of but that's another conversation for another day. But yeah, this is the tier list. This is the way I rank the players. I feel like Cunha was the best player on the pitch. Aside from Raya, Cunha was the best player on the pitch, and he's very unlucky to walk out of today without a goal. I'm very happy from what I saw from Cunha today. If we can continue to get this same player, I feel like it will be a massive improvement from what we had last season. Hopefully he can continue like that. Mason Mount, very solid. Casemiro, very solid. It is just a shame that we can't have these players playing at the same time, because our current formation, the way we're currently set up, is not really geared to maximizing our midfielders. And I always say this. My biggest problem with Amorim is this midfield and how he is not maximizing any of our midfielders. He's not maximizing Mount. He's not maximizing Casemiro. He's not maximizing Bruno Fernandes. And my boy Kobbie Mainoo today sat in the bench for the whole game. It hurt me to see Kobbie Mainoo at the end of the game, as talented as he is, to not touch the ball. That really hurt. That really hurt, because a player of Kobbie Mainoo's caliber could be starting for most teams in the Premier League. I don't think he starts for Arsenal or City or Liverpool, but there are a lot of teams that Kobbie Mainoo walks into, and it is very sad to see that a player of Kobbie Mainoo's caliber and talent does not does not start in this team, because the way we're currently set up in our midfield does not work. I'm not calling for Amorim to get sacked. I feel like Amorim needs this full season, whether it's good or bad. Amorim needs this full season before we can make any judgments. And it's been a problem with our team for such a long time that we've not given our managers enough time. We need to give Amory this whole season to see what he's able to do. But so far, seeing Kobe Mainu sat on the bench throughout the whole game really hurt. A player of his caliber should not be on the bench. And Mbeumo wasn't quite as impactful as Cunha, in my opinion, but he was still trying to make things happen. De Ligt, very, very solid throughout the whole game. I really, really liked what I saw from De Ligt. Amad Diallo came in the game, tried to make things happen, but again, didn't have enough time. Dallo and Dorgu scare me offensively, but at least defensively, I thought they were solid. Let's hope Luke Shaw can stay healthy. Lenny Euro can really blossom into something special if he can stay healthy. And yeah, our goalkeeper situation is really, really a big problem. Now, before we go back and continue to talk about our team and what we need to do about our current team, I need to spend a few minutes talking about why we must get rid of our current deadwood. And I'm talking about getting rid of Garnacho, getting rid of Anthony, getting rid of all of these players, Sancho, getting rid of all of these players that aren't doing anything for us. We have been very inefficient over the last few years at getting rid of players that do not add to this team. This is something that Ineos need to get right. If we're talking about a new culture shift, if we're talking about getting in a new front three, a new manager, new facilities, we also need to change our ways and our approach to how we deal in the transfer window. And part of the reason why is because you're kind of tying up funds. I always say, I do not care how much this team spends. It is not my money. The owners have all the money. They get all the profits. So they need to spend however much is necessary to make the team happen. However, at the same time, we are not fools. We know that to make that more efficient, we need to sell players. And currently, they need to go. It is a joke at how inefficient we are at selling these players. Chelsea keeps selling players left, right, and center like it's nothing. Like, who is dealing with Chelsea's transfer policies and getting rid of these players? We need to do a one-on-one with him. We need him as a consultant or something, because it is a joke that we haven't yet sold these players. And I do not want to see loans. I do not want to see loans. If there is a loan, there must be an obligation to buy at the end of these guys, because at least that takes off the wages from them. But what I'm really focused on is selling these players so we can get the funds to improve this midfield. As much as I think the biggest problem of our midfield is structural, I'm not a fool, and I also know that we don't have the depth. We do not have the depth to really make anything impactful happen this season. Even if Amorim somehow creates the perfect midfield structure and is the best midfield structure in the Premier League, he is still screwed because he does not have enough players to sustain that type of football. Amorim needs at least, bare minimum, one more midfielder before the window closes, because it's going to be a long season. I know we don't have European football, which is kind of great, but at the same time, in the Premier League, you need to have enough depth in your midfield. You look at a team like Arsenal, City, and Liverpool. That is the standard. We need to get back to winning ways. We need to make sure we get our midfield to that same standard. We need to make sure that we have enough depth and quality in our midfield, and currently we don't. So please, let's make that happen, and let's make sure that we have enough talent in our midfield. And to get enough funds to make that happen, these players that did not add to our team must go. And when I say must go, they must go. Even when it comes to they're not a cultural fit, they're not doing enough for this team, they must go. But yeah, that's kind of my main point with those players, is the simple fact that we need to become much more efficient at letting go of players that do not add to this team, letting go of players that they don't want to be here. They're so disrespectful that they are actively campaigning to get out. And you guys know who these guys are. I'm going to name them: Malacia, Sancho, Anthony, Garnacho. Rashford's already gone. We've got 4 more. We've got a few weeks left. There's 4 more players that we need to get rid of, and we need to make sure we get rid of them as quickly as possible. There are other priorities in this team, And the funds we get from those players will allow us to go out there and pursue the players that will give Amory the edge throughout the season. Yeah. This is kind of a weird topic, but I must talk about it. I must talk about this and this Rasmus Højlund. We are at a point where it's becoming really sad what's happening with Rasmus Højlund. I've talked about this before, and I'm going to talk about it again because you kind of saw in today's game. He wasn't even part of the team he wasn't part of the matchday squad. And I feel like that is very sad. We brought in a player from Atlanta who had potential, but who had only scored 8 goals. We kind of bigged him up to be this amazing thing, did not develop him properly. Even in his first season, where he completely bowled out in the Champions League, he was part of a very dysfunctional team and wasn't in the right environment to be successful. Second season, he deals with injuries. Our team is the worst that it's ever been in Premier League history. Since the Premier League started, this is the worst football that we have ever played. He also deals with injuries again, and we swap managers. In what universe is a young striker supposed to perform in those type of situations? And I agree, we got Sesko in, we kind of need to sell him. We need to move on. But the way he's kind of being pushed away from this team, I don't really like it. I don't like it. I don't feel like this is how you should treat a player, especially a player who we brought into this team, a player who we were picking up. Oh, Højlund is going to be the special player, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's very unfair. And now, to play devil's advocate here for a second, you kind of have to do that. Like, football is a ruthless business. He didn't perform last season, even with all the stuff I said, didn't perform, only scored 4 goals. You can kind of make the same argument for Ahmad, because Ahmad also dealt with injuries and he dealt with things, but Ahmad was still able to score 8 goals in the Premier League, more goals than Højlund. And yeah, we just went out there. There was a chance of Sesko. We got, at least on paper, a better striker with higher potential. So we need to get rid of Højlund. Football is a ruthless business at the end of the day, and these are the things that at times are not the most favorable things to be seeing. But Højlund needs to go. I just feel like the way he's being treated is a bit unfair, and I'm kind of glad that a lot of fans have kind of stood behind Højlund, not in the sense that we want him to stay, because the funds, if I'm talking about funds, the funds we could get from AC Milan would also be beneficial in our chase of a striker, in our chase for Baleba. But at the same time, it's very unfair, and this is why we need to really. It always goes back to the board. We need to become much more effective and efficient at getting players into this team, players that really match the manager's vision. And even if things don't work out the exact way we want them to work out, we just don't sack a manager, because you're going to be in this situation every 3 years. If we become good at that, we're going to avoid more situations like Højlund, because we kind of we've stalled Højlund's development for the past 2 years. He had a very good first year, second year very shaky, and now third year he's meant to go. It's tough business. And yeah, moving forward, we need to make sure that there is a long-term vision for our players. If we're going to get in a young player like Sesko, we need to make sure that there is a vision for him. There is a place to see him into our starting 11 consistently. And yeah, it just goes to once again highlight how poor our transfer and scouting networks have been at developing and identifying talent. The last signing we really had has really been outstanding, have been Bruno Fernandes, of course, Lisandro Martinez, Casemiro for a short while, but most of, I want to say, at least 60% of our signings do not work out. And you end up with situations like Rasmus Højlund. And, if we want to continue to be a club that is a desirable destination, especially for young talent, moving forward, we need to make sure, again, that everything is aligned in terms of getting these players and making sure they develop correctly at United. But yeah, those are kind of all of my talking points for today, guys. I appreciate all of you for coming. As I said, we're not going to really be doing watch alongs as much anymore, but there will definitely be match reactions in play. If you want to come on, I'll stay on for maybe another 2 minutes. Yeah, the link is right there on the chat. I'm going to highlight the link once again. If you want to join, just click this link. I'll put the link in the chat again just to I'll put the link in the chat again just to make sure if anyone wants to come on and just talk about United. You don't need to have your camera on or anything. Just come on, whether you're on your phone or laptop or whatever it is. If you want to talk about United, we're going to sit here for another few minutes. And yeah, and I'm going to end the stream. And I'll leave this little graphic on the screen for a bit longer. And let me just change the screen once again. If any of you guys disagree with my match ratings, how I rated these players, where I think they were, just come on and have a chat. Another thing is, when I get back home, I will definitely be making a United players ranking, who I think are the best players in the squad, at least at the start of the season. And Cunha is really balling out right now. I know it's only one game and we lost, so let's not overreact. But I really, really liked what I saw from Cunha. I feel like the goals will definitely fall. I feel like he had 2 chances there where he could have definitely scored. It's just that he didn't really have the luck to make it happen. Gotta go, bro. The W stream, though. I appreciate you, Frederick. Frederick is a loyal soldier. I appreciate you all showing up, Frederick. But yeah, okay, we'll end it there. Thank you very much, guys. I'm just rumbling on now. I appreciate you watching this video until the end, guys. You know how I feel about all your support. Thank you very much. And as per usual, we're here next week. There'll be more content throughout the there'll be more content throughout the week, and we'll be here next weekend to react to the next game. But yeah, this is it. I'll see you soon, guys.